Have you ever looked at your bank balance, saw a number that should feel fine, and yet somehow thought, wait, why do I feel broke again? You did not buy anything crazy this month. No new car, no impulsive trip to Bali, no shopping spree, just regular life stuff. Groceries, gas, maybe dinner out once or twice, totally normal. And still, that normal somehow turned your paycheck into pocket lint before the month even ended. Look, here's the thing most people never figure out until it is too late. The real reason you are not saving more is not because of one big purchase. It is the invisible stuff. The small, boring, automatic, forgettable expenses that quietly drain your money while you are not even paying attention. These are the expenses that do not scream bad decision. They whisper, it is just a few bucks. And those whispers are robbing you blind. My name is Michael, and I help people understand money the way school never did. Because let us be honest, nobody ever sat you down and explained how you can make 6 figures a year and still feel broke. If you want to actually keep your money instead of watching it vanish into invisible expenses, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. It helps more than you think. All right, let us get into it. Because this is where the real financial leaks are hiding. The set it and forget it subscriptions. Let us start with the obvious invisible monster, subscriptions. They are the silent killer of modern budgets. Every app, service, or company wants you on a monthly plan. Why? Because they know you will forget about it. That $5 app, that gym membership, that streaming service you swore you would cancel after the free trial, they are all quietly running your finances into the ground. Most people have no idea how many subscriptions they actually have. I have seen people paying for 8 different streaming services. That is Netflix, Hulu, Disney+, HBO Max, Amazon Prime, Apple TV, Paramount Plus, and maybe one random niche app that only plays British documentaries about castles. Each one is only $15. But add it up and you are dropping around $100 a month to watch the same 3 shows you could have streamed anywhere. The crazy part is companies design it this way. They hide cancellation buttons, auto-renew you without asking, and quietly raise prices because they know you will not notice a few extra dollars here and there. And it works. You end up paying over $1,000 a year for content you do not even use. Real-life example, I once helped a friend audit his accounts. He found he was paying for 2 different meditation apps, 3 music platforms, and this one is my favorite, a premium weather app that cost $8 a month. $8 to know it is raining. That is not self-care. That is insanity. Here's where it gets painful. These small subscriptions do not feel like expenses. They feel like part of life, which means they bypass your guilt radar. You never think, I cannot afford this. You just shrug and keep paying. But over a year, these invisible charges could easily become the difference between investing $5,000 or having nothing left to invest at all. The punchline. Subscriptions are not just products. They are habits you forgot to question. The convenience tax. Here is where things get interesting. You are not just paying for things anymore, you are paying for convenience. And convenience has become one of the most expensive addictions in modern life. Think food delivery apps. You open your phone, hit order again, and 15 minutes later, your dinner appears like magic. Except that $25 meal, it is now $45 with delivery fees, service charges, and tips. You did not just pay for food, you paid for not having to put on pants. It is not just food either. Grocery delivery, laundry services, Amazon same-day shipping, all of these sound harmless until you realize you are spending hundreds every month avoiding things your grandparents did for free. You think you are buying time. What you are actually buying is laziness disguised as efficiency. The emotional consequence. You start believing that paying for convenience is normal. That is dangerous. Because once you accept it, your baseline lifestyle inflates. You will find it harder and harder to go back. Making dinner feels like work. Picking up your own takeout feels beneath you. And before you know it, you are addicted to paying extra for the illusion of time you never actually save. Here is the reality check. Convenience is not a financial strategy. It is a leak disguised as luxury. The automatic renewal trap. This one is sneaky because it hides in plain sight. Annual renewals, software licenses, insurance policies, storage plans, credit card fees, they renew automatically, quietly, and always with a slight increase. You do not question it because it happens once a year, not monthly. But that is exactly why it slips through the cracks. Most people do not realize their car insurance, antivirus software, or cloud storage doubled in price last year. They assume it is normal inflation. It is not. It is corporate psychology. Companies know if they ask you to manually renew, you will shop around for better rates. But if they auto-renew and send an email buried in fine print, you will just keep paying. Real-life example. I found out I had been paying for extra iCloud storage for 4 years. Never used it. $48 a year times 4 years, nearly $200 just sitting in digital purgatory. It was not the money that hurt. It was realizing how easy it was to forget. The emotional punch. Auto-renewals create this false sense of security. You think you are being responsible? I am keeping my software up to date, when really, you are just too busy to notice you are overpaying. Here's the fix. Once a year, schedule a subscription audit day. Go through your bank and credit statements line by line. You will be disgusted by what you find, but you will also feel empowered, because for once, you are taking control back from the algorithms. The lifestyle rounding error. Stay with me on this one because it is subtle but deadly. The lifestyle rounding error is all those little "it is just a few dollars" moments that do not register as spending. The parking meter, the coffee, the vending machine snack, the tip jar, the digital download, each one is small, but multiplied across a month, they quietly drain hundreds. You probably do not even register them because your brain files them under insignificant. But the math does not care about your feelings. A $5 coffee every weekday is $125 a month, $1,500 a year. Add lunch out twice a week, another $1,000. Toss in impulse, Amazon buys under $20. You are now down several $1,000s annually without ever making a big purchase. Here is where it hits harder, because these are emotional spends. You buy them for comfort, not necessity. I deserve this coffee. It is only $5. You are not paying with money, you are paying with denial. And that denial compounds faster than interest. Most people think they need a higher salary to save more. What they actually need is awareness of the small leaks killing their cash flow. The punchline. It is not the $1,000 purchases that bankrupt people. It is the $5 ones repeated 200 times a year. The free trial that never ended. You know that free trial you signed up for 2 years ago? Yes, it is still billing you. Companies mastered this trick because they understand human psychology better than most people understand their own budgets. You tell yourself you will cancel before it charges. You do not. Then it is only $10, so you let it ride. Months later, you have spent hundreds on something you forgot existed. Free trials prey on optimism bias, the belief that your future self will be disciplined and organized. Spoiler, your future self is just as distracted as your current self. There's also a darker layer here. Companies intentionally make it difficult to cancel. You have to call customer support, wait on hold, confirm your identity, answer retention offers, and click yes 6 times before they let you go. By then, most people give up. That is not laziness. That is engineered friction. Here's where you might feel slightly called out. If you cannot even remember how many free trials you have started, congratulations. You are the perfect customer. You are paying for nothing and defending it with convenience. Reality check. Nothing is free if it requires your credit card. The small upgrade mentality. This one gets people who think they are being smart with money. You are not buying the expensive version, you are just upgrading slightly. The medium fries instead of small, the newer iPhone instead of the base model, the extra cloud storage just in case. Every one of these decisions feels reasonable in isolation, but together they add up to massive lifestyle inflation. You do not notice it happening because it is disguised as rational decision-making. It is only $20 more for the next model. Might as well. I will use it for years. But that logic never stops. There is always another small upgrade. Real-life example. I helped a guy budget who thought he was frugal because he never bought luxury stuff. Turns out he upgraded everything by 1 tier. Mid-range car instead of basic. Better cable package, higher phone plan. None of it screamed excess, but together it cost him an extra $6,000 a year. $6,000 for reasonable upgrades. The emotional cost. You start justifying every expense as practical, which means you never feel guilty, but you also never build wealth. The punchline. Every might as well, you say, is another reason your savings account never grows. The phantom fees. This is the part nobody talks about. Bank fees, ATM surcharges, overdraft penalties, foreign transaction charges, late fees, all of them designed to make you feel like you are being punished for living your life. The average American pays hundreds of dollars a year in these tiny penalties, and most do not even notice. Here's the trick banks use. They spread the damage across multiple small charges, so you never feel the full impact. $2 here, $5 there, a $12 maintenance fee. It is death by 1,000 microtransactions. And you know what is even crazier? These fees mostly hit people who can least afford them. Wealthy people do not get overdraft fees because they have buffers. Regular people get hit because one autopay went through a day early. And instead of helping you, the bank just quietly takes $35 for processing inconvenience. The emotional punch? You start feeling powerless, like the system is rigged against you. And honestly, it kind of is. But the solution is not outrage, it is awareness. Call your bank, negotiate those fees, automate your bills, and keep a small buffer in checking. You cannot beat the system if you are not even looking at the scoreboard. The energy leak expenses. Let us step out of the digital world for a second. Your house or apartment is probably costing you more than you think, not because of rent or mortgage, but because of inefficiency, leaving lights on, running, heating, or AC while you are gone. Outdated appliances, poor insulation, all invisible until you see your utility bill. These are the invisible expenses people shrug off because they feel unavoidable, but they are not. Swapping light bulbs, unplugging unused electronics, sealing drafts, these are not glamorous fixes, but they add up. I have seen people cut utility bills by 20% with simple adjustments. That is hundreds a year for doing nothing fancy. Here's the psychological part. Waste feels different when you cannot see it. If you spilled coffee, you would clean it. But wasting electricity feels invisible, so you ignore it. That is how invisible costs win. They hide behind inconvenience. The punchline: if you would not throw a $20 bill in the trash, stop throwing it out through your power socket. The overinsured safety blanket. Insurance is one of those areas where fear and marketing collide perfectly. You need it, but not as much as they want to sell you. Extended warranties, phone insurance, rental coverage, travel protection, they prey on your fear of losing something. And in most cases, they are mathematically terrible deals. For example, the average extended warranty on electronics costs between 10 and 20% of the product's price. Yet, the odds you will ever use it are less than 5%. That is like betting $20 every time you flip a coin, just in case it lands on its edge. Phone insurance is another money drain. $10 a month for years, when the deductible for a claim still costs over $100. You would be better off self-insuring, just saving that money yourself. The emotional part. These purchases make you feel responsible. I am protecting my investment, but what you are really protecting is corporate profit margins. Here is the truth nobody tells you. Peace of mind should not cost you hundreds a year. It should come from actually having savings. The background apps of life. This last one is more philosophical, but stay with me. It might be the most expensive of all. These are the invisible routines and habits that constantly cost you money because you have never reevaluated them. The unused gym membership you keep because you will go next week. The premium credit card you keep for the perks. The expensive grocery store you shop at because it is closer. All of these are background programs draining financial battery life. You justify them because they are familiar, and familiarity feels safe. But safe is not free. The hardest part about invisible expenses is that they live inside comfort zones. You will not question them because they do not feel like problems. That is why they stay invisible. Here is the gut check moment. If you had to repurchase every recurring expense in your life today, how many would you actually choose again? Probably not many. That is the test of financial awareness, reevaluating what has become automatic. The punchline: you cannot fix what you will not question. So where does this leave us? Pretty simple, actually. Most people think money disappears because of big mistakes, cars, vacations, bad investments. In reality, it is the invisible stuff that does the damage. Subscriptions you forgot, convenience you justify, fees you ignore, comforts you never question. None of them feel catastrophic, but together they quietly steal your financial future. Look, the goal is not to turn you into a minimalist monk who never enjoys life. It is to wake you up to the hidden costs of your habits. Because when you start noticing where your money actually goes, you stop being controlled by it. Audit your accounts. Cancel what does not serve you. Question the normal things everyone else does without thinking. You do not need to cut everything, you just need to see it. Because here is the truth. Wealth is not built by earning more. It is built by keeping more. And the easiest money to save is the money you are wasting invisibly. You do not need to look rich. You need to stop being stressed.